Hi everybody, my name is Elena Cheung and I'm joined here today by my friend Tina Parrish. She is a badass cyclist and outdoor advocate, and today we're doing a 20-minute follow-along yoga class for cyclists. So whether you're a road biker or a mountain biker, or you just like to take your bike for a spin around town, this class is for you. All right, for class today, you won't need any props. You'll see that I have a blanket here. This is just optional for padding underneath the knees if you would like. If you know that you have props you like to use at home during your own practice, feel free to grab them and make them handy. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cool, so we'll start off lying down on our backs. And we'll start with knees bent, feet on the floor, and you can just relax your arms by your sides, palms face up. And if it feels awkward, like it takes effort to have the palms up, then slide your hands a little further away. Close your eyes. We'll just take a few rounds of breath here. And just take a little scan of your body. Just relax your jaw, relax your eyebrows. Just give yourself permission to rest. So athletes, particularly cyclists, are really good at kind of pushing themselves to the edge. It's really important to be able to perform in that kind of fight or flight state. But a really key part of our recovery and improving performance and even injury prevention is being able to find this softer, more quiet space. So we're just taking some time here to kind of establish ourselves in this more rest and digest mode through the breath. And then we'll find our setup for bridge pose. So bring your heels in slightly. So in your mind's eye, your shins are vertical in space. Good. You should just be able to feel your heels with your fingertips. Good. And then from there, just do two tiny scooches a little further away from you. Tiny baby scooches. Perfect. That was just baby enough. And then you can relax your arms. And on your inhale, lift your hips, bridge pose. Good, then on your exhale, slowly lower hips down to the floor. Good, go ahead and just continue through this with your breath. What are your problem areas as a cyclist?
I definitely get tight hips and my hamstrings can get very tight. Sometimes in that same static position, my back and my shoulder area can also bother me a bit.
And are these things that tend to all bother you at the same time, or is it more like you feel maybe like your low back while you're riding and your hamstrings later, or
yes,
another combination of that?
It's sometimes all the same combination after the fact, but yeah, usually I'll feel one thing and then I'll notice maybe the hamstrings or something tighter afterwards.
Got it. So we'll definitely be addressing all of those things today. Super common for cyclists across the board, if I can make a sweeping generalization. What are you feeling working here?
Coming up, I'm feeling my glutes. I'm feeling this in my hamstrings.
Excellent. Let's do one more. And then hips can lower down to the floor. Go ahead and just rest for a moment. Take a few rounds of breath here. So cyclists and cycling in general is kind of a unique sport because it really exists in one plane of motion. And we're gonna take some time to explore other ranges of motion today, just inviting some variability into the system. Super important for injury prevention, for recovery, and for just an overall well-being for an athlete's body or a cyclist's body. So let's add on. Go ahead and lift your hips up again, coming into bridge. And then take your fingertips, bring them onto the front of your hips. Good. And you're gonna use your fingertips there to just provide a sense of knowing where your hips are in space. Try to keep your hips perfectly still. It's okay if they move a little bit. Try to keep them still. As you slowly lift your left heel, and then lower. And then lift your right heel, and then lower. And then go ahead and continue alternating through that on your own. And as you're moving, really paying attention to all of the subtlety that's engaging around your core, around the outer hips, perhaps around the inner thighs, as you're trying to look for the sense of stability in your core, in the hips, as the legs are moving. Does this feel challenging?
It does feel challenging.
Right? Like in a unique way.
In a unique way.
In a special, fun way.
Oh yeah.
If I can speak for you, she's having a great time. Let's just do one more each side. Beautiful, control. And then go ahead and lower the hips down to the floor. Hug your knees in towards your chest for a moment. Just giving a nice little stretch to the posterior, the back side of the body. You can stay still or a little rock. Try to say rock and roll. Rock it side to side, just massaging the lower back, the upper crest of the hips. And then go ahead and roll over onto your side, and I'll have you come up to tabletop, hands and knees. Give Tina some padding underneath her knees there. Shoop, there we go. Awesome, and then we'll move through some cat-cow. So on your inhale, it's a cow pose, lift and broaden across the chest. Exhale, round. Good. Go ahead and move through this on your own with your breath. And then really take your time with it. So kind of working into the end ranges of motion. So oftentimes cyclists tend to kind of get stuck in one position in one plane, particularly if they're riding for a long time. As you can imagine, that tends to take its toll. So it's really nice to just invite some tone and some blood flow, kind of reinvigorate the spine and the tissues that support it through something as simple as cat-cow. Let's do one more round of breath. Good. Then we're gonna do a little variation. So go ahead and bring your forearms down to the floor. Good, and I'll have you bring the top of your head down as well. Good, and you can use that to kind of just lift and press into my finger a little bit here, so you're gonna round the upper back. Good, like that. So keep the upper back exactly how it is. So think of it almost like you're locking it in place, and then we're gonna think of doing cat-cow with the lower half of the body. So on your inhale, think cow pose, like you're lifting the tailbone up, arching the back, good, and then exhale, round, tuck the pelvis under. Good, go ahead and continue through this on your own. So it's exactly like cat-cow, we're just isolating it to the lower half of the spine. Just another way to invite a sense of specificity into the work that we're doing, particularly for cyclists who spend so much time in just, again, one locked position. How's this feeling for you, Tina?
It feels great. I really like that movement of transitioning from one to the other instead of the locked position that I'm in usually.
Nice, love it. Let's do one more. And then go ahead and come back up onto your hands, and we'll do one that focuses more on the upper back. So find a child's pose position with the lower half of your body. Then hands will come forward. They don't have to be super far forward, and then we'll really use that to inhale, lift and broaden across the collarbones, think shoulder blades down the back. And exhale, round, tuck your chin towards your chest. Good. I'll just have you move through this on your own with your breath. Good. And as you're moving here, really focus on the shoulder blades integrating as well. Good, so press in my finger, good. Then inhale as you come to cow, again, shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale, round. Do you notice that one feels more challenging than the other?
This one actually feels a little more challenging.
Yeah, and that's pretty normal. I think this is an area that tends to get pretty stuck for most of us, particularly for people who spend a lot of time on a bike. Let's do 2 more rounds of breath. Good. Press in my finger. Good. 1 more. Beautiful. Now let's come back to a neutral spine, tabletop. Tuck the toes, and then take an inhale. On your exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back. Beautiful. You could either stay still or alternate bending your knees left and right. If I were to choose one yoga posture, down dog would be my choice for a cyclist. It's such a great way to just get a nice big general stretch and opening into the back side of the body. Tina, how do you feel about down dog?
Well, I have, a love-hate with down dog. I love it, but my hamstrings don't always love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some days I'm sure it feels better than others. Let's take 1 more breath. And then we'll step your right foot forward and come to a lunge, so bring the back knee down. Sorry, I took this away prematurely. There we go. Good. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Good. We'll stay here for just a few rounds of breath. And then really focus on pushing down through your front heel. And of course, the toes can stay grounded as well, but we're just trying not to death grip with the toes. The more you can push your heel down, the more it'll connect into the glute. Good. Let's take 1 deep breath. And we'll do right hand onto your thigh like a kickstand, and then inhale, get tall in your left arm. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Good, so we're just opening up through this left side of the body, into the hip flexor, into the obliques a little bit. Let's take a deep breath. Good. Inhale to center, both arms reach up. Good. And then exhale, bring your hands onto your front thigh, and we'll shorten your stance a little bit. Just a little boop. Perfect. And then we'll get into a little active stretch for your left hip. So push down through the top of the left foot like you mean it. Then imagine it's like you're trying to drag your left knee forward against the resistance of the mat. So your knee isn't actually going to go anywhere, but you'll feel as soon as you start to make that kind of friction happen, you kind of lean into that, you'll probably start to feel that sense of opening and that work in the hip flexor.
I feel the sense work.
I feel the work.
I feel the work.
I understand the release is there. Yeah. We're hitting two birds with one stone, so this is a really great one for opening and targeting the hip flexors. Let's take a deep breath. And then inhale, reach your arms up. And on your exhale, we'll do a little upright twist. So twist to the right, right hand reaches back. Good. Inhale back to center. Exhale again to the right. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, center, reach up. Exhale to the right. Good. And then inhale to center. On your exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Right foot will step back, downward facing dog. Breathe. And then we'll step left foot forward and switch sides. So right knee down to the blankie. Inhale, reach your arms up. Couple rounds of breath here. Good. See if you can soften the sides of your neck a little bit. Good. I like to think of it like your little bobblehead. So we're not overly like reaching for the ceiling. Good. Then take your left hand onto your thigh like a little kickstand, and then inhale, get tall on your right side. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Good. Nice. And then really focus on breathing into your right side. I imagine it's like a little accordion, and on your inhale, you kind of expand that space through the rib cage. On the exhale, you allow it to soften. And one more full breath. Good. Keep breathing. You're doing great. And then inhale to center, both arms up. Exhale, both hands onto your thigh. And then just a tiny little shortening of the stance. Good. Push down through your right foot, and then imagine it's like you're trying to drag your right knee forward towards the top of the mat. You'll probably feel that little as the hip flexor starts to work. And it's like, ah ha 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 ha. Yes, I feel it. So as you feel that work starting to build here, you might notice there's a tendency to kind of release the effort, or to kind of like mind gets distracted and wanders away. But see if you can just maintain that steady sense of trying to drag the knee forward. And remember, since athletes really love to go 0 or 100, see if you can find a nice happy middle ground. What is that? Take a moment, think about it. We'll breathe.
What is that?
Let's take one more deep breath. Good. And then you can kind of release that sense of trying to drag the knee forward. Inhale, reach up. On your exhale, upright twist to the left. Left hand will reach back. Okay, let's do 2 more with your breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Good. Last one on your own. Keep that stability in the legs as you move. Good. Inhale to center, both arms reach up. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Downward facing dog, left foot steps back. In your down dog, again, any kind of movement, or you can be still, and let's just take a deep breath here. And then we'll inhale, lift both heels. And then exhale, bend your knees and look forward and just come to the top of your mat. So we're in a forward fold. Good. And then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. And on your inhale, chair pose, hips down, and then reach the arms up. Good. Bring your hands together at your heart. Good. Awesome. So lean your weight a little more towards your heels. You tend to knock knee slightly, so if you notice you tend to knock knee, see if you can think of it like you're gently trying to push the knees out against imagined resistance. You can also think of it like you're trying to spin your inner heels together. Does that change kind of how you feel this? Can you think of trying to drag the feet closer?
Yes.
Where do you feel it?
Feel it in, let's see, quads, glutes. All my legs.
Great. Everything. Oh. Yeah, great. Let's take an inhale. And then exhale, release. Forward fold. Good. Inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, plant your hands, and let's step the left foot back, and we're gonna come to warrior 2. Turn the back heel down, open up the arms. Right foot points forward, good. Knee tracks in line with the second or the third toe, so it requires a little bit of that outer hip engagement to keep the knee from bowing in. Then turn your left toes in ever so slightly, so the left toes are either facing directly out to the side or a slight turn in. And then actively push your feet into the floor. Imagine it's like you're trying to drag your feet together to touch, and we're really gonna find that sense of work and love in the hips. Good. Try to relax your face, relax your jaw. Breathe in and out through your nose. Good. Where do you feel the work now?
I am feeling it still in my quads, of course, my legs.
Everywhere.
My arms too, a little my shoulders. Just the warrior 3.
Beautiful. Don't lose that depth. One more full breath. Good, and then go ahead and straighten your leg, and then just a tiny scooch in of the front foot, so just shortening the stance a little bit. Take your hands onto your hips. Think of it like you're pushing your hips back to the wall behind you. You can let this back hip rotate forward. Good, and then kind of, so that allows the torso to guide forward, and then right hand down, left arm up, so we're in triangle pose. Awesome, love it. Just boop, that way. So for triangle pose, actively pushing down through the base of the big toe. So again, we're just adding on different dimensions, and cyclists tend to live in this plane of motion. We're just starting to open things up, see where we can create space and balance through the legs, through the whole body, really. Let's take a deep breath. And then you'll use your core, use the pressure of your feet into the floor. Inhale lifts the torso to upright as you rebend your front knee. Good. And then just cartwheel your hands down to the floor. And we'll step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, we'll switch sides. So right foot back. Turn the heel down, warrior two. Good, beautiful. Just a little bit of that effort out here. Actively root down through your heel, connection through the toes, connection through the back foot, particularly the knife edge of the back foot here. And trying to avoid this sense sometimes of collapsing inwards through the knees and the legs, right? So there's this kind of constant outward energetic spiral. And then breathe. I'm relaxed, that's my mantra. I'm on a beach. I'm in the mountains. Let's do 3 more rounds of breath. Again, just giving some extra love into the hips. One more deep breath. Good, go ahead and straighten your front leg. Just shorten the stance just a little bit. Good. You can take your hands onto your hips, so it guides your hips back, and you can take this back hip, rotate it forward, and then kind of use that to lean the spine forward, and then left hand down, right arm up. Beautiful. You can see Tina is working hard here, and I love it. Keep pushing down through the base of your left big toe, the knife edge of the right foot, and then again, this sense of trying to draw the inner thighs together, finding this deep sense of integration through the hips. Awesome. Almost there. 2 full rounds of breath. Where can you find the blend, the balance of effort and ease? And then use your core. Inhale brings you back to upright. You can rebend the front knee, and then just cartwheel hands down to the floor and step forward, forward fold. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, go ahead and come down to sitting. Here's your blanket. We're gonna sit crisscross and come into box pose. So let's start with the right shin in front.
Right.
Yep. So if we have our heels closer in towards us, that's gonna feel like less sensation. So you can work this according to how tight your hips are feeling. So if you want a little more, you'll bring your feet further away from you, and then feet will either be closer together for less, or if you want more, wiggle your feet so they align under opposite knee. So box pose, because we're creating a box shape with the legs. So you can stay here. You can stay upright, or inhale, lift your spine, exhale, hinge forward, really get into the outer hips. You can bring your hands forward if you'd like. Good. How's this feeling?
I feel it in the, it's a great stretch. I love it.
Yeah. Heard it here first, folks. Let's just focus on breathing. So you can close your eyes and relax your jaw. Relax your eyebrows. So the steadiness of breath, really important, not just for creating release in the body and for allowing kind of our brain and body to accept the work of something like a stretch, but also tuning in to our breath and the way that we're breathing can be really helpful for sustaining effort over long periods of time, which is particularly relevant for cyclists, especially, or any kind of like long distance endurance sport. Being able to use your breath to actively recover while you're moving is huge. I don't know if you experienced that, Tina.
Oh yeah, once or twice.
Every once in a while.
Once in a while.
Let's take 3 more rounds of breath. And you'll use your hands and your arms to just gently support back to upright. You can take your hands behind you, lean back Take the legs forward, shake it out for a second, and then switch the cross of the legs. So as you switch the cross, either feet tucked in towards you and closer together for less. If you want more, you'll walk the feet away and then wiggle your feet under opposite knee. You can stay upright, particularly if you already feel a lot of sensation, that's great, then you can stay here. If you want more, inhale, lift up, and then exhale, hinge forward. And try to find a sense of softness. See if you can close your eyes, relax your jaw. Tuck your chin a little bit, good. Do you notice if one side tends to feel tighter?
Yes, definitely. My left side is a lot tighter.
That's totally normal for the body to feel asymmetrical. That's just kind of how our body is. So as we observe these things, it's not like we're using it to tally up judgments against ourselves, but rather just to practice observation. Let's just take a few more rounds of breath in and out through the nose. Relax your jaw, relax your eyebrows. One more breath. And you could use your hands and your core to gently support back to upright. And we'll just find a comfortable seated position. I'll have you quarter turn to face towards the front. You can stay sitting on the blanket if you'd like. I'm gonna come join you. Good. Then just relax hands into your lap. We can close the eyes and we'll just be here for a few rounds of breath, just taking a moment to notice and observe how the body feels. Especially compared to when we started class. Let's just take a breath together. So wherever you are in your breath cycle, exhale the air out of your lungs. Take an inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh it out. And gently blink your eyes open. Nice work. Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. How do you feel?
I feel wonderful.
Well, we'll take that with us through the rest of the day. Nice work. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Tina, thank you so much for being my demo. How's your body feeling?
Feels wonderful.
Excellent. 5 out of 5 gold star review. If you love this class as much as Tina loved this class, then go ahead and hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Remember, you can come back, take this class whenever you need it. Tina and I are gonna have a wonderful chat about her outdoor adventures, her advocacy work, and any other stories that she wants to share with us. And we're gonna do it over some bubble tea, so don't miss it.